Welcome back to another episode of the Oasis show. We're about halfway through the month of January already, which means we're about a month out from All-Star break, about 3 weeks out from trade deadline. So the most exciting parts of the regular season are really starting to pick up, and we've seen rumors be tossed around. We've seen All-Star ballots come back. Jacob, I just want to talk very briefly at the beginning of this episode. The fan voting all-star ballots.
Yeah,
You see some names in those ballots, and you're like, oh brother, what in the world are these guys doing here? I mean, it's fan voting. Thank goodness fan voting isn't 100% of the vote, but it is kind of funny to see those names. We had guys like Austin Reeves, and of course Derrick Rose is going to get all-star votes. But basically, the entire Warriors starting five, Lakers starting five. What stuck out to you about those first initial ballots?
I'd say probably the Kevon Looney and the Austin Reed vote. And I want to say, like, in the East, they had Tyrese Halliburton, like, eighth, I think, for the
Yeah,
guard.
that's disrespectful.
And then Derrick Rose was in there above, like, Julius Randle or Jalen Brunson, even, maybe. Which he'll get the votes. But it was just weird. I didn't like it at all.
Yeah,
But
and
for the
it's
most,
always
yeah.
it's always a weird thing. And of course, you're going to see the bigger market teams dominate the fan vote. Obviously, they're going to have more fans actually put in their votes. But it'll be interesting to see what guys actually are selected for the All-Star team. There might be some names that a lot of people, a lot of casual fans will say, how in the world did this guy get in over this guy just based solely off of a name, based off of, current past resume. Like a guy like Kawhi Leonard. I see a guy like Kawhi's name be on that ballot, and I don't expect Kawhi Leonard to be on the All-Star team. He hasn't played enough games to qualify, I don't think. And of course, he's come back and he's put up some solid numbers, but he hasn't played for half the season, so I don't think that he should get an All-Star spot over a guy like a Jeremy Grant or a Larry Markkinen, who has played really, really well throughout the entire season, has played a majority of the games. So I think we'll see some little tweaks to that initial ballot, things like that.
Yeah.
But starting today's episode, we have created our own All-Star ballots. So we're about 3-4 weeks out from the actual All-Star game. So these are subject to change. I think the All-Star teams are selected like 2 weeks before the actual All-Star break.
Yeah, I think the
But
voting is, like, this month and then the draft, or if they do the draft this year, all that.
right. So we've selected our all-star teams. Jacob has done the Eastern Conference, and I've done the Western Conference. 12 players get selected to the all-star team. We did 6 guards and 6 forwards/centers just to keep it evenly dispersed. We have our alternates as well, who are guys who could take the spots of guys who potentially get injured. Like I know Jacob in the Eastern Conference is going to have to, you know, have a guy maybe come in for Kevin Durant, who will probably be out for a month, and I don't expect to play in the All-Star game. He probably won't, and that's what I think, especially with the Nets having the success that they're having this season.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll go through our teams. We'll go through our starting lineups. And Jacob, I was going to give you the choice of how to do it. Do you want to go just each of us alternating players, give one player at a time, or do you just want to go through our entire starting lineups? I think we should alternate just to keep it fresh and to
Yeah.
be able to ask questions about why we have guys in certain places. So I'll let you start, Jacob, with wherever you want to start in your starting lineup in the Eastern Conference.
I'll start with the guard. The first guard position. I have Kyrie Irving,
Okay.
which he's been great the whole year except that little um suspended game stretch he had. I think it was like 10 games. But besides that, he's been available this year and playing really well, helping the Nets. On I believe it was a 12-game win streak at one point.
Right.
They're the 2 seed now, and obviously, Kevin Durant's out, but I think he's going to be able to keep them afloat. At least, not negative, like have a above 500 record without him out, without KD. But I think he just really earned that spot this year, especially ever since that whole situation with being suspended.
So let me ask you a question: Is Kyrie Irving the lead guard on your All-Star team?
No.
No. Okay. I was interested in that because I went to go fill out my ballot today. The voting was like 3 times today, so I went to go do
Yeah.
my ballot, and Kyrie Irving was not a starter for me. Actually, I had I had Donovan Mitchell and I had Jaylen Brown as my Eastern Conference backcourt starters, and maybe Kyrie Irving should get in over Jaylen Brown. But I didn't realize that Jaylen Brown was averaging 7.5 rebounds a game, along with 27 points for a guard. That's really, really impressive, and that kind of sold me. And with Boston being, first in the East, but I'll let you get to more of that whenever you bring it up. My lead guard position. This is an obvious one. This is a guy who's averaging the best numbers in the league. It's Luka Doncic, 34 points a night, 9 rebounds, 9 assists a game, keeping the Dallas Mavericks afloat almost single-handedly. This was a no-brainer. Luka's going to be a starter. There's no question about it. And he is, I don't know if he's going to be my favorite for All-Star Game MVP because usually in the All-Star Game, Luka defers. Luka doesn't try to get his own in the All-Star Game.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because his playstyle isn't super flashy, so maybe he defers to some of his teammates who do flashier things like shoot deeper threes and have a better handle and are more athletic than him. So even despite the great numbers he puts up in the regular season, I don't think that he's really going to be a candidate for that All-Star Game MVP, but he is my lead guard out of the Western Conference.
Yeah, I agree. There's really, no debating it. So my second guard, I kind of went back and forth, not with this player, but with Kyrie and the, different guard, like you mentioned, Jaylen Brown. But my second guard, I have Donovan Mitchell. And I think I just, he was in the MVP conversation for a stretch this year. He, 71-point game. I'll be honest, when I vote, my guards switch sometimes. So like it'll be a stretch. I vote, Kyrie and D Mitch, and then it'll be a stretch where I vote D Mitch, Jaylen Brown. It depends on the stretch. I guess I'm watching and what I'm seeing because I don't know. It's just multiple guys deserve that starting spot. But I just think D Mitch has been able to keep the Cavs afloat, especially with the struggles they've had. Not struggles, but Darius Garland missing time, and he's just been able to keep them afloat with the 40 balls, 30 balls. So I'm not gonna say it was an obvious choice, but I think he was, the best choice.
Yeah, I think Donovan Mitchell is going to be a lock for that starting backcourt,
Yeah.
representing the Eastern Conference. I think that that's going to be certain. I think that it will be between Jaylen Brown and Kyrie for that other starting spot. So Donovan Mitchell is going to be a lock as a starter as long as things don't drastically change over the next 2 weeks. My second guard spot, I had a couple of options here, and fan vote didn't agree with me on this one. This is a guy who was fourth in the fan vote each of the first 2 ballots. That's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, he plays for the Oklahoma City Thunder, a small market team. But what Shai has done this season has been undeniable. He's been incredible, um, leading the league in points in the paint as a guard, leading the league in points off of drives. He gets to the rim, he gets to the free throw line, and you'll see his stat line. He'll finish the game with 35 points,
Yeah.
and it's often on like 10 or 11 made shots, and only one of those is a three. He'll have like 12, 14 free throws a game. And Shai's been getting his own, and it's been resulting in wins for a depleted Oklahoma City Thunder team, a young Oklahoma City Thunder team. Shai is willing that team to a lot of gutsy wins, a lot of gutsy road wins. We saw him win against your Sixers the other night, Jacob. Numbers wise, Shai averaging up around 31 points a game, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists. Shai's career arc. I thought about this a couple of days ago. He got drafted by the Clippers in 2018, I believe. Coming out of Kentucky, I didn't know what to expect from him because he couldn't shoot the ball very well. He was just kind of average at everything to me. And to see the way that he's ascended his game to become such a great isolation player, such a great ball handler and driver, it's been really, really cool to see SGA's development. And I think that he deserves that second starter spot this year. Of course, you got guys like John Morant who deserve it too. You got a guy like Steph Curry. Despite all his missed games, his numbers speak for themselves. Yeah. But I'm giving it to Shai. I think that Shai really deserves that second guard spot.
Yeah, that's who's been in my vote too. That second guard spot.
Yeah.
So
here's where it gets tricky for you.
Yeah, my first forward. I had Kevin Durant, but like we said, the injury he'd be out at least. I think they said at least a month. And if Brooklyn keeps winning, I don't see him coming back for the All Star game. I mean, he might just because it's the All Star game. He'd probably be the captain for it. But I think for this fight, I'm put Jason Tatum. And obviously, the one seed, we kind of know what he's been doing. MVP conversation still, even though Boston slowed down a little bit, they still have the best record. But now, if KD did play, obviously, we had the thing who sits out. But I just think KD, especially if Brooklyn, like I said, Brooklyn keeps winning, he's not gonna play. Sadly, I hope he does, but I just don't see it, like you said.
Right. Like we brought up in the last episode, it was going to be tough to choose between those four. And with that KD injury, it definitely makes things a lot easier. So I don't expect him to play either. So I think that these next two spots alongside Jason Tatum for you are pretty concrete, pretty set in stone. Jason Tatum, obviously, top three in MVP vote in the MVP race right now. I think that he was probably the first or second lock for a forward spot.
Really?
And personally, in that Eastern Conference front court, in my opinion, especially with Boston being first in the East, I had Jason Tatum as a lock in my front court.
Yeah, he was. I think he was the first out. I was going back and forth between him and Joel just for games played, and the fan voting can be back and forth like it has been. So, yeah, but he was more than likely going to be a lock.
Another lock for me at my first forward spot is LeBron. Crazy to say, in his 20th season, 38 years old, still averaging 29 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists a game, and willing that Laker team a lot of nights to wins, especially since the start of the calendar year, since his birthday at the end of December. LeBron's been amazing. LeBron has been incredible. Of course, the Lakers went on that little 5-game win streak, kind of vaulting them back within the play-in range, where we see them only like 2 games outside of the 6th seed. So the Lakers are back in contention. They still have a lot of problems, of course, but LeBron has been able to mask a lot of those with his aggressive play. Of course, wasn't able to pull a game out against the Mavericks last night, but what can you do against Luka and the Mavs whenever Spencer Dinwiddie and Christian Wood are playing like that? But LeBron has been excellent, and this is a no-brainer. He's going to dominate the fan vote like always, too. And if LeBron was ever in an all-star game where he's not a starter for pretty much the rest of his career, I don't even care the numbers that he averages just because of the fan influence alone. Yeah. LeBron should probably start. I expect him, even with Luka, to be like averaging the best stats. I expect LeBron to be the all-star captain again like he has been so many years before.
Yeah, I think it will be until he retires, whenever that is.
Legit.
My second forward spot, I have Giannis. That's kind of, self-explanatory. MVP numbers again. I think he's averaging 30. I think either 30 or like right above 30, 31. Great two-way. Obviously, Bucks have struggled lately, but he's kept them on the roll. I think he's had a few 40 and 20 games, 30-10. Bunch of double doubles. Not much to say. It's Giannis, best player in the NBA. So I think he was a lock for that spot, for one of the forward spots.
Yeah, he was my other lock as well. I think fan vote is really going to do Giannis a lot of favors too. And his numbers, of course, over the last 3 games, he has not been very good at all.
I think like 20 points, I think.
Yeah, he's still up over 30, 31 points a game, around 11 rebounds, like 5, 6 assists. And on a team who is third in the Eastern Conference right now with guys like Chris Middleton, who've missed as much time as he has, I think Giannis was a lock for that second forward spot. For me, it was going to come down between KD and Joel at this point.
Yeah, I think it was between Tatum and Joel for me. Just KD had that really good efficient stretch, so that was my kind of thing with it.
The forward spot in the West is weird. This is another pretty easy pick. The starters, as opposed to the bench, there is a little bit of a drop off, as you'll see later on with this ballot. But another lock for a starter in the Western Conference, I've got Zion Williamson as my second forward spot, and he has missed some time, but he's been great on a Pelican squad who's third, fourth in the Western Conference right now. Had a great season so far. 26 points a game, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. And to see Zion come back from injury the way that he has, of course, I've made my insane, crazy takes on this show about Zion, and he's produced. He's really produced in a way that I didn't really expect him to, going back to a lot of the point Zion that we saw under Stan Van Gundy 2 years ago. I thought that it was something maybe Willie Green toyed with, but with some guys being out of the lineup, I really like how Zion has been inserted. I think he's been really, really good. I think that he's shown he can stay on the floor. He's
Yeah.
shown that he can battle injuries so far, and it hasn't been too much of an issue for him. And I hope it stays that way because I want to see Zion at full health going into the playoffs. That's one of my things that I want to see the most this season. But Zion is going to be another guy who dominates the fan vote because he's so exciting with the crazy dunks and the athleticism. So Zion is a lock at the second forward spot.
Yeah, that was my lock for the West too that I've had. Obviously, the Pelicans without Brandon Ingram from a good part of the year, he's held them to a top 4 or 3. I think 1 for a while. But yeah, he's my lock. For my last, I guess forward/center, I have Joel Embiid. MVP numbers again. MVP type numbers. I don't think he's top. He's not top 3 anything, but he's kept the Sixers afloat with all the injuries they've had early, and with even he's missed time. That was my only thing with him starting. Missed time. I think he's played 4 or 5 less than I think Giannis, who was like the next lowest. But I think he was a lock. Not a lock. I think he was one on the fringe. But if KD doesn't play, he's a lock.
Yeah, that's an easy pick. And although Joel probably would have been the odd man out for me, honestly, I think that his numbers now, with him averaging 33 points a game, with his numbers being vaulted over the last couple of weeks, with him having some really good games, kind of influenced me to change my mind, where I probably would have had Kevin Durant coming off the bench regardless if he wasn't injured or not, which is crazy to say because I know Kevin Durant's going to be a guy who dominates the fan vote, but I probably would have had Joel over him. As weird as it is to say.
I think with me, I had Joel starting in December. He averaged, I think, like 39 points the whole month of December. It was like a great stretch. So yeah, that's kind of my leaning factor too. It was just the games played.
Last forward spot in the West. This is no brainer as well. It's Nikola Jokic, 25 points, 11 rebounds, 10 assists. Once again, first in the MVP race. It's not flashy. It's not cute. It's not going to jump off the page at you, or jump off the screen. His numbers will jump off the page, but Jokic is Jokic. That's all I can really say. Denver basically tied for first in the West with Memphis, and a lot of that is due to Jokic single-handedly putting that Denver Nuggets offense as a top 3 offense in the league. He's just doing what he's done the past 2.5 seasons, where he's won MVP twice. And although we've retorted that he probably won't win his third just because of voters' fatigue, he's making quite the case. He's making quite the case for it once again.
Yeah, if voter fatigue stopped or didn't matter, I think this would be the year, especially if they finished in 1 seed. I think they were the 6th seed last year and he got it. So if they finish the 1 seed, he's putting these numbers up. I think he'll probably more than likely get his third in a row.
Yeah. I also think that this is the best team he's had so far in his career. I really do think that. Yeah, I think that they have a good chance to make a deep, deep playoff run. And I think with Jokic being the head of the snake, the sky's the limit for Denver. Jokic will be an all-star starter. It won't be pretty out there. He probably won't have a good statistical game in the All-Star game just because they won't go to him a lot. He'll probably have more assists than points, but he'll throw some cool passes.
Yeah, he will. Probably a bounce alley-oop or something.
Yeah. We don't have to spend as much time on our bench. We can just go over them kind of shortly if you want to.
Okay. For my first bench player, I think I had Bam Adebayo. I'll keep it short. He a Miami team that's struggling. He's been a big part, keeping them afloat with Jimmy missing time, and they've had a lot of injuries. I've been wondering why they've been so bad, and it's been injury related. he's just kept him afloat with his numbers and play lately, especially lately. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think he just gets a nod. Not this really isn't in order, but I think he just deserves to be on the roster on
Yeah.
the team.
Shout out to Bam for stepping his offensive game up so far this season, shooting the mid-range jump shot, shooting very efficiently on floaters. Been really key for the Heat to stay afloat, missing the guys that they have this season. Shout out to Bam. I think he deserves to be there too. My first bench spot is going to be Ja Morant, obviously tied for first place in the West, Memphis Grizzlies. A lot of people probably think that he should start, and I wouldn't mind at all if he did over
Yeah.
Shea. Ja at 28 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists. Numbers are there. Team success is there. Ja's super exciting. So he has the case to start. It was really 50-50 between him and Shea. I'm going to have Ja spearheading that second unit, though.
Yeah, I can agree. For my second, I have Jalen Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, best team in the league. One great part of that offense, especially in like if somebody struggles or they're missing somebody, he really steps up. Uh, like I said, I'd like to see him starting, but it's just I don't know if I could see it over Kyrie and Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah. Yeah. I said I had Jalen Brown, but I would like to see a Kyrie and Donovan Mitchell
Yeah,
backcourt in an All-Star game, probably a little more than Jalen Brown being an All-Star starter, just because of the flashiness of it.
all right.
But Jalen Brown is definitely going to be there. He's had a great season for Boston, and yeah, I agree completely with that pick. My second bench spot. This guy's missed a lot of games this year, but his numbers speak for themselves. It's Steph Curry. Steph Curry, 30 points a game, 6 rebounds, 7 assists. When he's played, he's kept that Golden State team afloat. He's had some really great games this season, and we know what Steph does in the All-Star game with his deep threes, look-away threes. He's going to be there, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Steph backcourt. I'm interested to see that. I think that would be really, really fun.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. Yeah, it'd be fun. For my next player, I have James Harden. He missed time this year too, but he's like when Joel misses time, he'll step up. I think he's averaging 22 and 11. I think he leads the NBA in assists. I'm not sure if he qualifies yet, but I know he's above Tyrese Halliburton, who leads. I think. I just he's been solid this year. Like I know he got hurt real early, but he just had a good stretch. He had good,
Yeah, you're good.
but okay, yeah. I give him the nod. I guess I think he's third in the guards right now in the East.
Really?
I think he's either third or fourth. I
Hmm.
want to say it's third, but I'm not real sure. But I think he should get the nod, especially with the fan votes.
Yeah. We know in the All-Star game we're going to get some ISO possessions out of James Harden, and it's going to be fun to watch.
They haven't been that bad this year, I will say, but we'll see.
Yeah. Haven't heard you say many bad things about him, which is an improvement from last season.
Like I said in the preseason, the hamstring injury held him back.
I'm going to go to my first forward spot, and you're going to see with this Western Conference All-Star ballot, the forward position is a little limited. It
Yeah,
is limited this year, so you may see some names in here where you're like, what? But at the first backup forward spot, I've got Larry Markkinen, and I think that he is obviously deserves to be here with Utah having the early success that they had. Of course, they've fallen off a little bit now, but Lowry's been super solid. We've seen him break out and have some big games. He's a top 3 as a most improved candidate right now. He's been so solid for that Utah team all year. 25 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists. He's going to be there, and especially representing the Jazz in their home arena in the All-Star game. It's cool to see that they're going to have someone represent them when we thought maybe early on in the season, oh, Utah might be a tanking team, so they might not have a guy who really qualifies. But Lowry, even without the hometown bias, wherever the game is going to be played, he qualifies.
yeah. I think he was going to get it.
Yeah.
My next player I have Tyrese Halliburton, which I throw him in the starting every now and then just to see if he get the vote.
Mm.
He's been amazing this year. Obviously he's hurt. I think he's missing at least 2 weeks now. I think
Yeah.
after being injured the other night, but that's like with Laurie Marketing. We thought the Pacers were going to be the worst team in the league or the East,
Yeah.
and they're
What
sitting.
wrong?
Yeah, they're sitting around. I think a few games above 500, like right outside the sixth seed. I think he's just been leading them. His playmaking has especially boosted them, especially Miles Turner still being there and Buddy Hield, who we thought would have been traded. He's just leading that team to not being a tanking team this year.
Yeah. Reese has been excellent. He 100% deserves to be there. I hope that his injury status doesn't hold him out. I don't believe it should, but Reese 100% deserves to be there. And I think he'll be a fun player to watch in an all-star game setting with his playmaking and his ability to shoot the three as well with that awkward-looking shot.
Yeah, I think it'd pass a lot more in the All Star game, but it'd be
Yeah.
fun to watch.
Speaking of Tyrese Halliburton, I have the guy he was traded for at my second backup forward spot, Domantas Sabonis. 19 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists. Sabonis is basically going to come off the bench and do exactly what Jokic does, to a lesser extent.
Yeah,
So it won't be flashy in the All-Star game. He probably won't do anything super crazy, but he 100% deserves to be there, with Sacramento being around the 5 seed in the Western Conference, exceeding a lot of expectations. Sabonis has been such a big part of that, and he has earned his spot. It was kind of a question whether a Sacramento Kings player would
yeah,
get a nod for the All-Star game, and I think if it was going to be one of them, just based off the field, I think it would be Domantas Sabonis. As
yeah.
much as I would like to see De'Aaron Fox there, but man, I got something later on. De'Aaron Fox might sneak in.
Okay.
I'll leave that as a mystery right now.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's. I want to say a lot to be on the team, but it's just Sacramento, so we'll see. But yeah, I mean, I think they should with the success they had.
Yeah.
My next player I have Pascal Siakam, which he's been really good this year on a struggling Toronto team, who more than likely we'll see some things happen. Even he might get traded. I highly doubt it, but there's been rumors. He's just been carrying them offensively. He's been their offense have been not. It's been bad, but it's not one of the worst in the league. But it's been pretty bad. He's really been helping them this year, carry the load, keeping them close to 500. I don't think it's real close, but he's kind of close.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot for me. Pascal has been really, really good,
Yeah,
and been one of the main reasons why Toronto hasn't completely blown up at this point, because Fred VanVleet has been really, really bad. Gary
yeah,
Trent's been inconsistent. Scotty Barnes hasn't really taken another step. So Pascal has really been the glue that's held that team together despite their struggles early on. And he's put up the numbers for it, and I think 100% he deserves to be there as well.
yeah,
My last forward spot, it may seem like a homer pick, and I thought it was a homer pick at first too. But when I went back and I looked at the numbers, it really wasn't. It really wasn't a homer pick. I've got Jeremy Grant at my last forward spot,
yeah.
representing the Portland Trailblazers. And I'll go ahead and say this right now: he might be the only Portland Trailblazer in the All-Star game this year, which is crazy to say with Damian Lillard and Anthony Simons, with how electric they are in the backcourt. But with the rest of the field and with Jeremy Grant's numbers, he's the one who
Yeah,
qualifies. He's the one
yeah.
who honestly qualifies. 22 points a game, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. He's had multiple 30, 35-point games this season, and games where Damian Lillard has missed. Jeremy Grant was often the number one option, and
Mm,
he's shown that he can be that. Of course, last year in Detroit, he showed that he could be that. But to see that he's only improved his offensive numbers from last season is something I didn't expect at all. Honestly, I thought that he would regress a little bit, being like the third or fourth option on the team. But he's been efficient early on. He's been really good, and I think that he's deserving of that last forward spot. And I think that's not a homer pick. I think that that's really what's going to happen.
yeah, I agree. I think he would have been my last forward spot in the West. I agree. He's like we said, it was real slim with the forwards in the West, so I think he would have got that push.
Yeah.
My last forward, I have. I guess it might be not. It's not a homer pick, but I have Jimmy Butler. Um, I think, like we said, the Heat's been struggling, but like with him and Bam, they've been really carrying the load, especially when people out. And most games they only have 7 or 8 players playing. I've noticed. Uh, I think he just get the nod, especially with the fan voting. But I just think he deserves to be on the team, get the nod, even though he's missed some time this year.
Yeah. There's only one other guy I can think that would really contend for that spot, and that's Julius Randle.
Yeah,
I'd probably get the nudge to Jimmy still with the games that he's played. I know Julius Randle has been solid,
yeah,
but like you said, fan vote is going to play a factor in it. Julius Randle being on the New York Knicks, I thought that he would get more of the fan vote, honestly, but he came in at 10th.
on this, yeah, the new
Yeah,
one,
from the
second one.
forwards list in the Eastern Conference. That kind of surprised me because I thought the Knicks would kind of ride for their guy. They rode for D Rose, but
Yeah,
not Julius Randle apparently. But yeah, I think Jimmy Butler probably gets into, and maybe in a late game situation we can see maybe a matchup where Jimmy Butler is the primary on ball defender, and it can be something that's really cool to see. That's my
yeah,
hope at least.
yeah. That'd be fun to see.
Yeah. With my second to last spot, I've got Devin Booker here, and I know Devin Booker has missed a solid amount of games, but his numbers are just going to put him there: 27 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. Of course, kind of like we said with Pascal Siakam, but Devin Booker's been on a very underperforming team so far this season. But they've had guys in and out of the lineup. It's been inconsistent, and I can't blame everything on that because they haven't been great when everybody's been on the floor.
Yeah,
But Devin Booker has been the solid player on that team, and I don't put a lot of the blame on him. I think he'll still be there. I think that he's gotten a good bit of the fan vote, so I think Devin Booker's still going to be there as long as he's healthy.
yeah. I agree. He's the main reason the underperforming Suns isn't a whole lot worse than it is. I think they're in the play-in right now.
Right.
Yeah, I think he'd get the nod just for his numbers and just Devin Booker.
Yeah. Last spot. Who you got?
My last guard spot. It's kind of tough because I just was thinking about a different player to put, but I'm giving the nudge to Trae Young. He struggled this year, at the beginning, shooting like around 30% from three, which is unheard of for him. But
Yeah.
he's been a lot better lately. I think he's like a few of these teams. He's the main reason the Hawks haven't blown it up yet, in my opinion, because they've been pretty bad this year. Um, but I think he's averaging, close to, I believe, 27, 28 points. So I think just his numbers and the fan voting give him the nod to be on the team.
Yeah. I think that that's probably the right choice.
Yeah,
I think with the fan vote, Trae Young is an exciting player to watch in an All Star game too, and yeah, I think that's the right choice despite all the turmoil supposedly in the Hawks organization. They've underperformed with their roster as well. But
yeah,
Trae Young, he's put up solid numbers still. So I think he deserves to be there.
yeah, I agree.
My last spot though, I'm kind of torn actually. I told you going into this, I was set on my team, and the more I look at it, I'm torn. I'm
Yeah,
between three guys for this last spot. I've got Damian Lillard here. I've got De'Aaron Fox, and I've got Anthony Edwards. I think I'm gonna throw out Anthony Edwards.
yeah, I
With
would. I like,
with
yeah,
with the Timberwolves underperforming, Anthony Edwards' numbers are pretty solid. Not a crazy jump or anything. I think I would be doing a disservice if I didn't give it to De'Aaron Fox. I think I've got to give it to De'Aaron Fox with the success of the Kings. So the Kings get two. That's cool that the Kings get two. 24 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists for De'Aaron Fox. We know how good he's been. He's the best clutch time player in the NBA too. So
yeah,
that kind of influenced my decision. I think he deserves to be there over Damian Lillard, whose numbers are better, but he's missed a lot of games too, and the team has underperformed a little bit. So I would put De'Aaron Fox at that last guard spot. I think he deserves
yeah.
it.
I think I'd agree with you with that last guard spot.
Yeah, tough thing for me to do, but I'm
Yeah,
I'm not I'm not going to hold De'Aaron Fox. I believe he deserves it. Yeah. Who are your alternates? Just name your alternates. We don't have to talk about them at all. Just name who they are.
my alternates are Julius Randle, DeMar DeRozan, Jalen Brunson, and Kyle Kuzma.
Yeah, I had Dame, I had Anthony Edwards, I had Paul George, and just to show you how thin the forward pool is in the Western Conference, my alternates are Aaron Gordon and Christian Wood. Those are the next two best forwards in the Western Conference.
Yeah, I think both team like both or sides or whatever should be kind of like set, I guess. It's just who gets the final nine for that last spot.
Right. And I mean, there's still 2 more weeks, so it's still subject to change a little bit. A guy could get injured here and there. So we'll just have to see how it plays out. But I think that not much will change from that. I think that both of our lists were pretty solid. I
Yeah.
think that that wasn't something that was super, super hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
So for the back half of this episode, this is an article that Jacob actually sent to me yesterday. It's Greg Schwartz at Bleacher Report again, and it's the playoffs first round matchup predictions. So I just want to kind of talk about what they expect to happen and maybe what we would have different at this point. So I'll just run through this article real quick. The Eastern Conference first round matchups. I'll run them down one by one. The 4-5 matchup in the Eastern Conference, according to Greg Schwartz of Bleacher Report, will be the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Brooklyn Nets. Jacob, as of today, who wins that series?
Oh, I'm gonna have to go with Brooklyn.
I think
As
so.
as much as I want to see Cleveland win, I think Brooklyn, like as of today, Brooklyn's just hot. Especially, KD will be back. I think just KD and Kyrie will just wheel them past Cleveland. It'd probably go to 6 or 7. Uh, I guess I'm just thinking of the defense with Garland and Kyrie, like the defense he'd have to play on Kyrie. Yeah, I think I just have to lean in Brooklyn.
Yeah, I would probably lean Brooklyn as well. Although Brooklyn is the 5 seed in this, so the Cavs would have home court advantage.
Yeah,
Just based off that experience, though, I think the Brooklyn Nets have something to prove after being swept in the first round last year.
yeah,
I give it to Brooklyn in 6 personally. With the Cavs' lack of playoff experience, I think they do pose some problems for the Nets on the interior. Nick Claxton has been great this season, but outside of Nick Claxton, you're really depending on Ben Simmons in there to guard Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. So, but I think the Nets get it done. I think there's too much star power with KD
yeah.
and Kyrie, especially in the playoffs.
That'd be a fun series to watch. I wouldn't mind it.
Oh yeah, that would be a good one. This would be a good one too, Jacob. And this might be your worst nightmare, honestly. Rematch of last year's Eastern Conference semifinals, 3 versus 6, the 76ers versus the Miami Heat. What would your thoughts be of matching up against this Miami team in the first round?
I don't think it'd be a nightmare, but I think Philly. I think it'd be Philly in 6, maybe 7,
Mm.
maybe because Miami's basically the same as last year, just lost PJ Tucker. Uh, like I said, I think it'd just be like a little revenge thing, like Brooklyn had them putting us out last year. I think Joel, if healthy, hopefully we'll see, but I think he'll just try to dominate that series.
Yeah, this is
It'd
one
be,
where I have no idea. I have
it,
no idea who I would pick.
I think it'd go to 7. I think I would just lean Philly, especially if they have home court and the way they the way they've been playing. I think I'd go with them.
I also think about though if it comes down to Game 7, one guy has a great track record in Game 7s and the other doesn't. I'm
Yeah,
not talking. I'm not talking about Joel Embiid. I'm talking about James Harden.
yeah,
James Harden does not have a good track record in Game 7s, while Jimmy Butler is one of those guys.
right.
So
I
if
will
if
say,
I was Philly, I'd be trying to get it done in 6 games, and
yeah,
if it went to a 7th game, I might have to leave Miami, honestly.
if it went to 7, I will say that it'd be Joel more than James. He'd have the ball a whole lot more, especially James has been facilitating a lot and passing a lot more this year. I think. I mean, I see what you're saying. It'd be weird. I'd actually like to watch that matchup though.
Let me ask you this: would you rather play Miami in the first round, or would you rather play Cleveland?
Mm.
You've got one team with the playoff experience that hasn't looked good to start the season, but we know can ramp it up as the season goes along.
All right.
Meanwhile, the other team has looked really good, but doesn't have as much experience, and we don't really know what to expect from them.
I think I'd rather. I think I'd rather play Cleveland, just like you said, the experience and coaching. Because Eric Spoelstra, one of the better coaches in the league, he would have a game plan for Joel. But it'd be Jared Allen and Mobley guarding Joel. But
Right.
I think I'd rather play Cleveland. It's just my thing with that is Donovan Mitchell can get hot, and when he's hot, he's hot. But I think that it would come to the benches, which I know the roster it kind of gets cut, not cut, but the rotation gets cut down. I think I'd rather play Cleveland.
Yeah. I would probably pick Cleveland too. It's close though. I think Cleveland is really good,
Yeah.
but I'm still just afraid of Miami. I would be afraid of Miami.
I don't know if I can see Miami as I think they'll get the 6 seed, but I don't know if I see us getting the 3. I don't
You
know.
think y'all be 4 or 5?
Maybe, but we'll see. It's going to be close. It's very close right now.
Yeah. Next matchup, 2-7. As much as I like Indiana, they don't stand a chance in this series. It's Milwaukee versus Indiana. Milwaukee might sweep that series, honestly.
Yeah. I don't.
Indiana's been really good, but playoff wise, a lot of those guys have little to no playoff experience. Going against a team that's core has won the finals, I don't think there's a chance in the world.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if Indiana still stays in the contention for the playoffs. They more than likely will. I think they'd they're in the play and then win the one game to get in, whatever game it may be. Um, yeah, Milwaukee more than likely sweep.
Yeah.
Indiana might get one, but Milwaukee would probably sweep.
Yeah, not much needs to be said about that one. This is an interesting 1-8 matchup. Boston, they have Boston winning the Eastern Conference as the 1 seed. They'd be playing the Knicks as the 8 seed in the first round. They had the Knicks getting that last playoff spot. I probably go Boston in 5,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that the Knicks are a team who might be able to match up better than most teams do against Boston.
Yeah,
I think defensively they match up pretty well.
Yeah, I think I'd say Boston in 6. I think New York can get 2, especially playing in the Garden. Uh, but I actually want to see that series. I think it'd be very fun to watch, especially the way New York's been playing this year. Jalen Brunson's been really good. Randall's had a better year than last year. It might come down to like a RJ Barrett type, like what he does, I guess, or because we know what Boston will do, but
Right.
so
I still think Boston would win that series pretty
yeah,
easily. I think that they would shut down a lot of what the Knicks do offensively. I think the Knicks would be limited on the offensive end, but that'd be an interesting first round series to see. I would be interested to watch that.
yeah.
Do you have a gripe with those 8? Do you think that there's a team that was left out that might get a spot in that top 8 in the Eastern Conference?
I don't. Atlanta maybe, but I don't. I honestly don't see them. The way it's been going, I don't see them getting in. They might.
Wow.
They could maybe get a playing game over Indiana if Indiana's been playing, maybe. But I don't see it right now how they've been playing.
Yeah, Atlanta is the only other team that I can think of. I don't think Toronto will be able to turn it around. I don't think Chicago will really be able to turn it around. Atlanta, they're just too shaky too. They're just too inconsistent, and especially with what's going on with their coaching staff with Nate McMillan. I think that I would pick the Knicks over them in a 1-game setting still, especially if the Knicks have home court advantage. Although we know what Trae Young has done in the Garden before,
Right.
I think that the Knicks would get their revenge at this point of the season. Maybe Atlanta goes on a run, but I can't see that happening right now. I think that 8 is a good 8. I think maybe the Knicks get the 7 and Indiana gets the 8.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I think that that's a pretty solid list.
Yeah. Chicago's been hot lately, but I don't think I can see them. They might get to play 10 seed. I don't know if they win the game.
No, I don't think Chicago is on anything this season.
It'd have to be DeMar would have to carry them if that happened.
Yeah. On to the Western Conference. Get a load of this 4-5 matchup. Western Conference Finals rematch between the 4-seeded Golden State Warriors and the 5-seeded Dallas Mavericks. Interesting one right here. You've got probably the most electric player in the NBA right now, Luka Doncic. I guess I can't really say electric, but the most influential player on the court in Luka Doncic, who's going to average the best numbers against the juggernaut Golden State Warriors in the playoffs. The Warriors would have home court advantage as the 4 seed. Do you think that the Mavericks, this rendition of the Mavericks, stands a better chance than last year's did against Golden State, or do you think it'll be much of the same?
Same. What was it? 5 games last year? 5 or 6?
It was 4-1. Golden State won that series.
I think it'd be 4-1 again, maybe 4-2. I just don't see Dallas. I can't see Dallas getting out the first round, depending on the matchup. Luka, it had to be a Luca, it'd be Luca, basically getting them out the first round, in my opinion. But yeah, I'd like Golden State in that matchup.
That is a terrible first round matchup for Dallas. I
Yeah,
think for Dallas to have to match up against Golden State in the first round, that's terrible for them. I think Golden State is the one team, regardless of the seed, that's going to have a lot of these teams' number. And for it to be Dallas, for it to be Luca, it's tough to see again for the second straight season. But I don't think that they stand a chance in the world.
yeah, I wouldn't either.
This is an interesting 3-6 matchup. The Pelicans versus the Clippers. Pelicans being the 3 seed, the Clippers being the 6th. They matched up in the play-in last year, of course, with the Pelicans winning that game on the road at Crypto.com Arena, aka the Staples Center. But the Clippers were missing Kawhi Leonard in that game,
Yeah,
and I don't remember if Paul George played or not. I don't believe Paul George played.
he did, I think.
He did.
Yeah, he played in one of the play-in games. I
I was
remember.
about to say I know he missed one of the playing games, but this series, I would probably lean Clippers. I would probably lean the 6 seed Clippers as much as I like the Pelicans.
Yeah,
This Pelicans core hasn't played together in the playoffs with Zion being most likely the number one option. They still got to get Brandon Ingram back from injury.
yeah,
TJ has been really, really good of late, and I probably should have slid him into my alternates in the Western Conference for the All-Star team. The Clippers are just too good though. If the Clippers are healthy,
yeah,
they're beating the Pelicans, and I don't think that there's really a question about it. Even with the Pelicans having home court advantage, I think that would be a 6-game series, and I would lean with the Clippers.
yeah. I think it comes down to which team's healthier. Because we saw what the Pelicans did in the playoffs last year. You know, not almost beat one seed, but did better than people thought.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd go with the Clippers. I think go to 7. I don't think 6. I think it'd end up being 7, but I'd lean to the Clippers, especially if Kawhi's healthy and what he could do in the playoffs.
right. The 2-7 matchup is kind of an unfortunate one for the Sacramento Kings, who are the 7 seed here. They get matched up against Denver. I think this is a bad matchup for the Sacramento Kings, who have been really, really good this season, especially offensively, but defensively, they still have their struggles against one of the best defensive teams in the league, with Sabonis having to try to defend Nikola Jokic. I think there are a lot of problems there. If Sabonis gets in foul trouble, it's a wrap. Basically, I don't think
Yeah,
that Metu or Rashawn Holmes is out of the rotation now. They might have to pull him out to guard Jokic. I don't think the Kings stand a chance in the world, especially with no playoff experience on that team, really, outside of Harrison Barnes, I guess.
yeah,
But the Nuggets win that series. They might sweep, honestly. Maybe the Kings get one, which would be good for them. Maybe
yeah,
they get a game at home. They were able to light the beam one time.
yeah.
But the Nuggets are winning this series in no more than 5 games, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd give it 5 games. I'd love to see the Kings do something in the playoffs. So I'd be happy. I'd be okay if they just got the playoffs. I'm sure they would too. Yeah, it'd be Denver pretty easy.
Yeah, that's pretty easy. The 2-7 matchups have been pretty easy ones in
Yeah,
both conferences. This is an interesting 1-8 matchup because if this 8 seed is fully healthy, I think that they're the best 8 seed of all time. They have the Phoenix Suns as the 8 seed going up against the 1 seed Memphis Grizzlies. That would be an interesting matchup with the Suns having their playoff experience with Chris Paul, with Devin Booker and Ayton going to the finals, Mikal Bridges likely being the primary defender on Ja Morant. I think that would be a great series. I think that would be a really good series. I'm still going to lean Memphis. I'm going to lean Memphis, and I don't know in 6 or 7.
I think it goes to 7.
I think it might go to 7 games. And I think with Game 7 being in Memphis, Memphis shoots a lot better from 3 at home than they do on the road. I think they would have a good shooting game. I think they would win a Game 7 at home. But that is a very tough first-round series. That's a taxing first-round series for the Memphis Grizzlies, who
Yeah,
would likely be going up against the Golden State Warriors in the second round again. Man, that's tough. That's tough to think about.
yeah. I'd lean Memphis in 7. It come down to how Chris Paul plays. I think. Um, Yeah, if it is the bracket and they see Golden State to the second round, yeah, they'd be tired from playing Phoenix, especially if fully healthy.
Yeah. Any gripe with those eight? You know, we have teams like kind of right on the outside, teams like Portland, teams like the Lakers, teams like why did I go blank?
If if
Like the Timberwolves.
yeah, if the Lakers or Timberwolves in the play, yeah. If the Lakers are in the play-in, can you see AD? And if AD plays, can you see him and Bron, at least getting one win in the play-in?
I can. I honestly can.
Okay. That might be the team, maybe, but I don't see that happening really. Especially Minnesota. I don't know if they could or not.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the play in the West is going to be interesting. There's other teams that are good, but just struggle this year.
I think that Minnesota will not get higher than the 10 seed. I think that the 10 seed is the highest Minnesota will get this season. I
Even
think that the highest Portland will get is maybe the 8 or the 9.
yeah,
I think honestly, as crazy as it is to say, if Anthony Davis comes back and can give them a solid stretch of games, I think the Lakers can get as high as the 7 seed and clinch home court for a play-in game and potentially steal a 7 or an 8 seed. As crazy as it is to say at this point of the season.
I think they're in the play-in right now. I think they're like the
They're
10th or
they're
9th.
out they're outside. They have the same record as Portland, basically.
Okay. Yeah, I think if they're in the play-in, especially the way LeBron's been playing this year, I think they could definitely get one game. And I wouldn't mind seeing the Lakers in the first round matchup. It more than likely be, I guess, Memphis or Denver.
Ooh.
If
Imagine Memphis versus the Lakers in the first round.
I'd go to a few of those games. Tickets are going to be crazy, but I'd have to go
That would
see.
be insanity.
Yeah.
I think Denver would make very quick work of the Lakers. I think Memphis still beats the Lakers, but
Yeah.
that would be a lot of fun to watch.
Right.
Yeah. I don't really have a gripe with those 8, honestly. I think that the Lakers, as crazy as to say, would be the most likely team, with maybe Portland being up there too. But
Yeah.
Portland has been so bad lately, I don't know what to expect from them. I believe in Dame, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it would be a better thing if we missed the playoffs, honestly, if we were just going to get the 8 seed, because our pick is lottery protected this year. We might as well salvage that first round pick.
Yeah. Get you another good young guy.
Right. So that's all. I was going to bring a little discourse up about trade talk, but I think we can bring that up in a later episode that's closer to the trade deadline, which I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about then.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this episode ran pretty long. It was a pretty good episode. I think that we had a good dialogue here. The league is really hot right now. The league is hot, and we see some teams going on runs. We see some separations, some teams kind of coming back to earth, like Golden State,
Yeah.
like Miami coming back to earth a little bit. So things are starting to even out. The crazy start has kind of faded away, and we've seen teams kind of get back to their element.
Yeah.
But next episode will likely be power rankings, the January power rankings. So we'll be excited to do those and bring those to y'all. Other than that, Jacob, you got anything else to add?
No, I think, like you said, I think the playoffs is gonna be really close because nobody's just separated yet. Like every team is still like a few games behind each other. It's gonna be interesting to see how the last stretch of the season goes.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited to see how it all unfolds. And we'll be here to cover it all season and all postseason. So, other than that, if there's nothing else to say, we'll see y'all next week. Peace out.